If you're one of those people that thinks that they're lazy because they don't work hard at something that they're not even interested in, then you might not actually be lazy. So many of us think that we're lazy just because we don't work hard at something that we don't even have any interest in at all. Just because you don't work hard at that thing doesn't mean that you're lazy. And I wish that I knew this earlier before I let society and other people mischaracterize me just because of what my interests actually were. In school, there were certain subjects where I was really interested in them, and then others where I could care less about them. I was super into communications, so I really liked taking classes that pertain to language, whether that was English or a foreign language, learning about grammar, learning about sentence structure, learning about diction, all these different intricacies of how to express yourself and how society creates the world that it creates. And all that goes into how society forms a framework through which people live. I always found this to be really interesting. But when it came to doing things like intricate math, science, like biology, chemistry, I didn't have an interest in them. So I naturally was not very good at them. And I had to put in a lot of extra work just to get to the bare minimum level that was expected of me. And I didn't enjoy that. So over time, I began to put my effort towards other things that I found more interest in. And what happened as a result is that I learned that I actually did have interests that I was truly passionate about. And I had things I wanted to do with my time apart from what was assigned to me at school. I wasn't the only one in this situation because I saw other classmates who were super great at math, super great at science. It came like second nature to them. And when it came time for them to take exams and do assignments, they did great. They were super high achievers and really great at what they did. I've seen other people who were super great at maybe a certain sport. And this is super common. I know this is common among a lot of people in high school. You're really great at a sport, so you decide, hey, I'm going to fully send it. I'm just going to put all my effort into this sport. Hopefully, I'll make it to playing in college. And maybe I might even go pro. So many people, because you don't really have, depending on the person, that guidance and that overarching like framework in which you're trying to live your life. People would just go fully into dedicating themselves to the sport. But what if that sport didn't work out? What if, your academics would be what you needed to get to that next level? Because in all reality, you do need to be at a certain academic level in order to play a sport, even in high school. So you can't just slack off and pretend like you're a full-time athlete when you're a student also. You can't just allow yourself to fall off academically unless you're super like one of those super rare talents who is able to do that. You're going to have to get back to focusing on that thing that you don't like doing, but it's necessary and it's required. Even if you aren't good at that thing, it doesn't mean you can't learn lessons from it. Lessons that you can then take into other things you are interested in. I spent a lot of my time struggling through those classes in my younger years going through school. My free time was spent on the computer, editing videos, creating videos, thinking about new ideas for videos. I was doing animations, I was doing series, I was doing music videos, and I'd spend a lot of the time that I should have spent studying and actually getting smarter from an academic perspective on videos and that whole creative process. So instead of learning how to do long division, I would spend my time learning how to edit in the newest video editing software, going from Windows Movie Maker into Corel and eventually to some of the more advanced software and tools that were out there. I learned how to use Audacity to edit audio. And these are the type of skills that are needed for a career in certain industries. But in order for me to even have a shot at doing that, I would have had to really dedicate myself to understanding concepts that were obligatory. Not just the ones that I felt like learning in my free time, but the ones that I would have to learn in school that would enable me to get to a point where I could then choose which career path I wanted. And so that was the learning lesson. Even as I was learning how to make videos, I had to teach myself things from videos on YouTube. I had to teach myself how to persevere. I had to teach myself how to apply a new concept when there wasn't any handbook or guide for how to do it. When you're trying to edit, crop, draw on paint, cut up images and put them together into what looks like a video, you can't just ask your teacher, like, how do I do this? Because in many cases, those teachers didn't grow up with this technology. So they wouldn't be able to help you anyway. The internet has such a plethora of information available that I was able to learn. I was able to understand if I'm trying to make a certain outcome happen, I'm going to have to learn how to trudge through the difficulty of getting there. So in this case, it was the difficulty of trying to figure out how to make an arm move. How can I make an arm move in a way that looks like it's waving to someone digitally on the computer? This is something that I had to learn through trial and error, going into paint, drawing pixels over and over again. The same concept applies to struggling through math problems. It's just a different application of the same concept. And that's what school is supposed to be. It teaches you how to learn. It doesn't necessarily teach you all that you have to know about life. I will say that there are many times that I would struggle through school. I would struggle and try to figure out what's going on in class. I would try my best to make it through, but I knew that it wasn't my passion. I did enjoy learning, but not certain subjects. When it came time for me to do a subject that I enjoyed, I would put more energy into that. I realize now, if I would have put more effort into those subjects that I struggled with, I could have been even better at them and potentially have gotten to higher levels academically. We see people apply their energy to things that don't drive them towards where they might think they want to go. Or maybe they do want to go there. We see people who get involved in illegal activities and we constantly berate them and we say, oh, these people are doing things that we do not, as a society, condone. But when you sit back and think about it and take all morality out of it, and you just think about the effort that it takes, the discipline that it takes, the consistency required to be able to make anything happen. If they would just redirect that toward studying for school, working in a certain trade, put it toward trying to develop something new to help other people in a new path in life, that same energy could actually be something that changes the world positively. But instead, they're choosing to do what they do, which has a negative impact to the people around them. But what would the world look like if we could help people who think they're lazy because they don't understand a certain concept academically, or because they aren't as talented at doing something as someone else is? And so they keep trying and trying to force themselves into a box they aren't meant to fit in. How different would society look if we could identify people going through this situation, use our knowledge to redirect them where they can succeed and help them do that? I think things would look a lot different. I think that a lot of people who are going through high school right now, they think that they're dumb just because they don't succeed in math class. They think that they're stupid because they don't understand a certain grammar rule in English class. So many people are discouraged, and I know this because I was one of them. The situation that they're in is not conducive to the goals that they have for life, or they don't know how to direct that energy because they haven't seen people do what they want to do. We see this a lot with entrepreneurs. We see this a lot with people who maybe have family members who didn't go to college, people who have other aspirations. I mainly talk about school because that's such a pervasive thing, but there's so many different goals people have. People have art goals. They want to be an artist in a certain arena, but they don't have anyone to look up to in that particular arena. How are they going to think that it's even possible for them to do that when all that they do with their time is study coding class in school and math class? They don't even get the chance to tickle that itch inside, that itch that tells them, hey, I can be an artist if I can just get the resources for it, or if I can just have enough time to dedicate toward it. I just think that there's so many people out there who they think they're lazy, but they're actually just being misguided. If you think about the things that you would like to spend time on, and then you look at all the time that you waste every day, all the time that you spend wondering about how to reach that goal, wondering about what the next best step is, I mean, those minutes add up into hours. You'll be very surprised to see how much you can get done in 1 hour without any distractions if you just focus on getting yourself locked in and fully focused on your one task. No distractions, and you're focused on that task that you have to get done. In reality, people waste a lot of time. If you waste a lot of time, then how will you get the chance to work on that muscle memory, redirecting that energy toward the right path? That energy is inside. It's laying dormant right now because many people feel that they can't focus. It's not even that they can't. It's just that they don't want to. They would rather get the cheap dopamine from watching other people do it or from doing other things. That same consistency that it takes to waste time can be redirected toward actually spending the time wisely. The choice is up to you, but you're not lazy. Don't let that label be a crutch.